So we're here with Dr. Kindred for AerolaseChat. Welcome to our evening edition. This is going to be really fun, and we're excited. So, do you mind answering questions as we go through, as they come
Oh,
up?
I love it.
Okay.
Absolutely. Let's
Yes.
do it.
Okay. Perfect. So today we're going to be chatting about, three things that the laser does for Dr. Kindred, and maybe you,
Mhm.
anyone who's watching, who is maybe interested in learning more about our device and implementing it into their business, and why she can't live without her Aerolase Neo.
Yeah.
Um, so
Absolutely.
this wasn't a part of our questions, but maybe you could just tell us a little bit about your business.
Oh, sure. So I have a solo practice in Columbia, Maryland, and I do specialize in hair loss actually, but I still love medical dermatology. I love my acne, eczema, HS, psoriasis, what have you. And I see a very, very diverse group of patients.
Hmm.
I mean, you name a country, I probably have quite a few patients from there. Yeah.
Excellent. And you have the best technology out there to treat all skin types, right? With your Aerolase Neo,
Yeah.
and you never have to turn anyone away, specifically for those medical applications that you're really passionate about and that sometimes can really affect everyone's self-confidence. And maybe it's not just an aesthetic purpose, but it's more for, just feeling good about their skin and just more confidence about themselves.
You're absolutely right. There's plenty of cosmetic dermatologists that
Hmm.
love Aerolase too,
Right.
right?
Yes.
But for dermatologists like me, like for acne, you can't just treat the acne and leave the dark spots and leave the scars. You have to recognize you didn't get that patient across the finish line, right?
Hmm.
And that's what they can. They walk through our doors with a goal in mind, and we can accomplish that with Aerolase.
Perfect.
It's. I don't need to switch heads. I don't need to grab one laser for one patient and a different laser for another. It's just all within, and it's small, right? And so I can just wheel it from one room to the other. It's a really great fit for my practice.
Absolutely. The portability is it's just one of the best features of the
Yeah,
device. So,
yeah.
so let's start to get into it. So we really kind of started these Aerolase chats to um, let our community know about contactless laser therapy with no-touch
Yeah.
Aerolase. And it was important prior to COVID, but it just seems like it's even more prevalent right now to introduce people to hygienic practices and sanitary offices and things like that, and how you keep clean and to keep the patient at ease about coming to your office. So it's just a perfect way to enter laser into that conversation with hashtag no touch Aerolase. So what was it like incorporating laser back into your post-COVID day-to-day office operations?
You know what's interesting about that question? There was no thought put into it, right? So in coming back from COVID or from the quarantine, we had to think about how do patients enter the door? How do they come in? How do they pay their copay? Thoughts went into everything but Aerolase. That's because it doesn't touch the patient,
Right.
right? And I think about this long protocol we came up with, and the laser wasn't even a part of it because it doesn't touch the patient. So, in hindsight, it was a good buy, but I didn't buy it because it was
Right.
contactless. It just so happened that it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so the goggles, they're hard plastic, they're easy to clean.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's not even a issue because I'm not worried about cross contamination between
Right.
patients.
It was just
Right now, it's so
right. It was just super seamless, and it just made sense
it
for
was
this.
yes, definitely
Absolutely.
not a thought. And so, if I had to buy a laser right now, if I didn't have one, if for no reason at all, because of COVID, I would want a no touch laser like Aerolase.
You heard it here first. We have to quote you. What
You-
time is it, Dr. Kindred?
I know that's
July
right.
21st. She said it here on Aerolase Chat. Woo! Perfect. Thank you.
I
I mean,
know it's just it's got its safety first. Safety
right,
first.
right. And then all the other fabulous things that go along with it.
And then all the
Um,
other fabulous
right,
things.
right, right. So I guess no-touch Aerolase is more important than ever. And we kind of just covered that that topic and why someone like you in your position, it makes sense to have a no-touch laser. And like,
Mm-hmm.
how have your patients adjusted and acclimated back into their treatment series after being away from their sessions? So, you have these medical patients who are relying on you for this type of service, but then we had to close our doors for a little bit, which was just like a big bummer. But, we're kind of getting back into the swing of things. So how have they adjusted and acclimated back into their Aerolase treatment series?
One of the things I realized is just how much I relied on Airlace in my practice. And when patients were flaring,
Mm-hmm.
psoriasis was worsening, acne was worsening, everything was worsening. They couldn't wait to get in, and we were firing up that laser every day.
Amazing.
It was just a no-brainer. Because even if you take an acne patient and you want to give them antibiotics, it takes some time for that to kick in, and we can just whip the laser out. My patients are already uh, familiar with the laser by far, most of them. And again, with everything I had going on, and it was really hard to carry the responsibility of a practice with all of the changes that occurred. But I can tell you, the laser wasn't something I had to think about. Right?
Right.
It wasn't a protocol. When patients came in, they were worse. We whipped the laser out. So there was no transition to using the laser. It was just a smooth, seamless, stressless, thoughtless part of opening back up.
And I'm sure they were thrilled to know that they didn't have to worry about anything going back into your office and then, just resuming the treatments and having something that was safe. And then they can have that feeling of normalcy again and kind of going back into, even getting your laser treatments and feeling good. So I'm so glad to hear that you're able to just get your patients through the door again and didn't have to worry about them or worry about your business at the same time, which is like the perfect
Wow.
scenario.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Perfect. So, so we did mention that you are definitely passionate about hair loss, but also just medical dermatology in general. So I think this is a hot topic. Why laser over oral medication prescriptions for, a multitude of different applications?
Okay. So while I still prescribe antibiotics,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a go-to the way it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have an increase in bacterial resistance. We're
Mm-hmm.
starting to see some P. acnes developing resistance or P. acnes develop resistance. And we don't want our patients to go down that track. So that's one reason. And there certainly are patients. Let's take a typical female patient who needs to start Accutane, and there's a 30-day wait. I can tell you, probably half or just under half, we actually end up canceling our iPledge, our Accutane, because they had such great results with the laser, right? And I didn't have to do that with an antibiotic. And that should speak volume, because by the time they have cystic acne with scarring and inflammation, that's meaning the laser is hitting all of those points for the patient's acne. And then on the flip side, let's say it's not severe. Let's say the patient has been diligent with their regimen, they're washed, they're retinoid, and then they have 3 annoying bumps that just popped up. Are we really going to give a full-blown antibiotic for those
Oh
3
God, I
bumps?
hope not. I hope not.
We can just whip out the laser, knock
Mm-hmm.
them out, done. So and then also when you give the antibiotic, while it is reducing the inflammation, they still can get post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. They can still get the dark marks. Well, I find if I hit it with a laser, sometimes we can skip that step. They go from the lesion to clear, and then we didn't have a dark mark to clear up because the laser takes care of the dark marks too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the turnover time is a lot faster with the lesion, so it
Yeah,
less time to scar the skin and
yeah,
leave trauma there, right?
yeah, exactly,
I know
exactly.
something. You're the expert. I know some things about Aerolase too, but yeah, for sure. I
Dr.
mean, like,
Johnson, Dr. Johnson actually
yeah.
helped convince me to get the laser. She just pointed out the hardest part is when you are doing the laser, till the patient
Yeah.
don't talk. Like, hey, COVID's still there. I know this is safe, but it ain't that safe. She's right.
Right, because acne is likes to hang out in this area, right? So
Exactly. Exactly.
there's no way yet to treat through a mask to get. I mean, that's kind of scary to think about. The mask is going to have to come off. Um, oh my god, and that's like a perfect segue because you mentioned to me when we were doing our little briefing about this thing called maskne.
Maskne, maskne, maskne. Oh, help us
Oh.
all. Okay.
Are people
So
like actually
mask.
calling you and saying like I'm getting all these pimples around my mouth area, like I don't know what's going on?
No, absolutely. They some patients know the term maskne. Some are complaining that their acne is worsening under their mask. Um, by now, most people are getting the sense that they're getting the sense that the mask is really causing an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So maskne, that's basically the acne that we're getting under our mask, and it's really acne mechanica. That is, there's
Mm.
some physical frictional force causing the acne. And one tip is just don't wear makeup under the mask
Mm.
because what you're doing is combining acne cosmetica, acne caused by cosmetics, with acne mechanica caused by the mask. However, it doesn't matter. There's plenty of us that don't wear makeup on a daily basis
Mm-hmm.
that are seeing it. What we think is happening is the the composition of the germs on our skin is actually being changed from the mask. And you're going from germs that really wouldn't survive with a lot of exposure to air, but now it's lack of air.
Mm.
And so you're getting a different set of bacteria that's cropping up. And so that's why you can be diligent and on your acne regimen, and the mask will still worsen your acne,
Got
right?
it.
So I can, change it up again and give you an antibiotic temporarily,
Mm-hmm.
or I can just whip out the laser, get you under control, and then maybe bump up your retinoid. Yeah, it's
That's that sounds perfect. I always learn something on these Aerolase chats. Acne
the
mechanica,
tactics so good they are.
acne cosmetica. Wow. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I can imagine the combination of the two could cause something nasty going on underneath that mask. And
Right.
some people might not be washing them as frequently or
That's it.
wearing that same surgical one all the time. I mean, I don't want to
All the time. All the It's like we took all the stuff we learned in infectious disease and just threw it out the door, and we're
know.
just trying to make it work. But
All
yeah,
right. Well, be conscious of the maskne or go see Dr. Kindred because she can get that cleared up for you really quickly, luckily.
absolutely.
And maybe we'll ask one more acne question and then I'll swipe through the questions to see if anyone asks us anything. But why is, just to sum up this acne portion of our talk, why is NeoClear so important and essential, crucial for your acne patients or just anyone's acne patients?
Absolutely. What we always want is something that's effective and safe.
Mm-hmm.
And everything has some type of catch, right? Even lasers, if it's not in the right hand. So if we, to move on from acne, if I have my psoriasis patient and they just have one or two really thick plaques that's really itchy, interrupting with sleep, etc. It's not a large area, so I don't want to whip out a biologic, right? I don't want to whip out methotrexate and get labs and do all of that. And the cream sometimes takes some time because it really needs to penetrate and get to the base. We could just whip out the laser. The laser can penetrate past that thick scale, get to the base. Once you get to the base, you can clear up psoriasis. You can clear up just stuff, right? And so for that reason, it's really important. And it's not just one thing. So what I don't want is have one laser for acne, one laser for psoriasis, one laser for this, one laser for that. I'm running my own practice. I need something that works on everybody and works on multiple things. And that's why the Aerolase is so important to my practice.
not having a device that's good for all skin types could kind of be detrimental to someone who could be trying someone out new and they didn't know that there is devices out there for all skin types. But, operationally, it could be a headache having multiple different devices and moving things around. Yeah. So
too much.
Absolutely.
Keep it simple.
Right. And you'll definitely have simple operations with your Aerolase device if anyone's definitely thinking about purchasing. So you mentioned psoriasis. So, if we didn't touch on this already, but how do you pitch this treatment therapy to your patients instead of the use of steroids or medications specifically for psoriasis?
Oh, it's one of the easiest things, right? Just tell your patient, how your psoriasis gets better in the summer? That's because of light treatment, basically, naturally. Except you have this one spot, we need to hit it, and so we need to use light for this spot. And patients understand it, right? So you don't have to, if we as physicians can't explain it in a very straightforward way for patients to understand, then we're missing something there. The patients should still be able to understand what's happening without having a degree. So they understand that their psoriasis improves in the summer. So naturally, we can also use light when we need to from time to time with the laser. It's not just so, and most patients, if they understand it, they're good to go.
Got it. Yeah, it could be so simple, and explaining something in layman's terms like that. I don't want to say layman's, but just like.
But yeah,
it
exactly.
is. I mean, it just gets someone so excited about it, and they don't have to think too hard about it. And I can imagine if I had something like that, something severe like that, or a spot that was painful or itchy, hearing that there was something new out there to treat, something that's proven. Someone, an operator that's trained and experienced like you, I mean, I would be thrilled to give it a try. So that's great. And your final topic that you mentioned to me that was quite interesting and something we don't really talk about too much is, I didn't practice this word, hirsutism.
Yeah, hirsutism, facial hair.
I said it wrong, and Sean was like, "You didn't say it right," but I didn't practice beforehand. And Sean, if you're watching, I'm sorry, I didn't get that right this time. Me and that word just, the overgrowth of hair. So, it's another patient group of yours that's reaping the benefits of the Aerolase device. So, is it a difficult condition to control, even with the device, or just in general? And how, in your eyes, does the Neo make it effective for the application?
There's really no other way to control hirsutism efficiently and effectively without the laser.
Wow.
We can give pills, right? We can give spironolactone, and if you want to go that far, you can use a cream called Vanica. That's just not going to cut it. You need to go to that follicle and destroy it. Otherwise, we're getting ingrown hairs, dark marks. It's too much. Just go straight to a laser. Go straight to a laser. And the key is to do it early. Do it before the hairs turn gray. Now, I was always taught that the laser does not work for gray hairs. And I think for the most, it's right. But I have some patients that tell me that they feel like it improves some of the gray hairs too. But I recommend for everyone, get them done now while the hairs are black. And it's safe. And a lot of times what we're doing is we're getting a 3-in-1 with the laser treatment. That is, we're getting rid of the scarring. A lot of times that's on the face. We're getting rid of the dark marks that's there. And then we're getting rid of the root cause of the scarring and the dark marks, which is the hair. And it's always there. I have no treatment regimen for hirsutism, for facial hair, that does not include the laser. It's pointless otherwise.
Excellent. I mean, like you just kind of proved to us today, there's so many ways, to use it solo or combination therapy.
Oh, absolutely. I love combination therapy. Yeah.
Right. Some things just need that 1-2 punch. So let's see. I think someone asked, can this be used to treat rosacea? Such a good question.
Absolutely. Oh, knock it out. You can still use the creams and do all of that stuff, but that redness is what's really driving your patient crazy, right? Their skin is sensitive, adjust their wash. They get bumped, give them a prescription. but they still want you to clear that redness. And there's a study showing that when patients have a rosacea flare, the first impression of people that see them is that the rosacea patient is either timid or angry. And a lot of times it's neither. So that redness has to go. You have to whip that laser out for it.
Whip it out. When in doubt, whip it out. Oh my God. Did I just come up with our new marketing slogan? I think I did. It might be a little aggressive, but you kept saying it. I mean, like in a lot of instances, you just feel like you just need to take it out because it could be so helpful for like a wide variety of people, right?
Easily.
Yeah. Someone said, "I'm so happy to see Kindred Derm today." Oh, me too.
Aww.
There are stick-on eye shields that you can throw away, which I guess is another sanitary option besides.
She's absolutely right. We love them.
Someone asked, does Kindred Derm trust laser hair removal? Do you trust laser hair removal?
Honey, I live by laser hair removal. No, it's good. And that's a good question, right? Because you need the right laser with the right setting, with the right operator. All of those need to be in order for it to work. And, it's the reason why you have to be licensed in some sort of way before using it. And we're not just talking about any laser. We're not talking about just any facility. You want all of those in place. So me with a horrible laser isn't a good combination. It's just you need all of those.
Right. A good device, a good operator, knowledge, practice. I mean, it's so commonplace to get hair removal, but people need to be aware that, it is still like a medical treatment, not like a medical, it is like, I keep saying
still a medical treatment, yeah.
It's still
you still got to respect
treatment.
it.
Right, exactly. Someone says, do you know how long the hair removal lasts?
So typically you want to do the treatments monthly for 6 months. And then we want to see we space it out so that we're only seeing you right when you feel like you need to shave. And then eventually, as time goes by, you won't even need to come back at all. So typically what happens is we'll see someone every month for 6 months. And then to test it out, we'll space them out to every 2 months. Typically what happens within a year, we're only seeing them twice a year. And then after a while, they don't even need to do that. The key is for you to not have to shave. And so it's a little bit different for everyone. And a laser only works for hairs that are in the growth phase. You always have about 15% that are not in the growth phase. So you always have that 15% that you're trying to chase. And eventually you get that 15%.
Right. It's hair reduction, not hair removal, right? There's always
don't call it hair removal all the time, which I know what we mean.
Right. Wait, there was so many. I'm not a good moderator tonight. There were some questions. Let's see. Are all laser treatments out of pocket? That's a good question.
No, actually, for probably 75% of my patients, the acne laser is covered. And we have a sheet, and this is for my derms on here. I have a pre-printed sheet we just hand to the patient that breaks down how they can contact their insurance company to find out how it's covered. Yeah, and the code is 10040. They cover. It's a shame. What is an absolute shame is that insurances do not cover laser treatment for hidradenitis suppurativa, HS. That's where you get boils under your arms. Aerolase is outstanding for HS, but insurance companies, they're not stepping up their game, and they need to for this group of patients.
Right. It seems like everyone's kind of just like in this dated mindset that you just pop a pill and it cures everything. But, there's technology. Thank God for technology. We should be improving. We should be coming up with new ideas and new ways to treat things. So it doesn't always have to be the pill and then.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
Whatever's happening to your body when you take that pill. I mean, we don't want to get into that. But, just be grateful that there's laser out there for us.
And we want multiple options. Absolutely.
Right. back to maskne, Dr. Johnson, fabulous. We took Uber together after this Skin of Color Symposium, like really early in the morning. We had great
Oh,
conversations.
wow.
Hello, Dr.
Yeah.
Johnson. Thanks for joining us. She said,
Hi, Professor.
you know, I think she's talking about maskne, but it's a bit like acne on the back and shoulder from heavy backpack being carried. Oh yeah, that's a good point.
She's right.
She's right. Do you want to mention anything about PFB?
Right, and that's the PFB or pseudofolliculitis barbae, right? I need your cup of water. That's where, you know, you get an ingrown hair. And yes, and that's the first thing you do is, I mean, if it's a woman, we're going straight to laser hair removal. And then we have a compound that we learned at Howard University. It was just passed down from one generation of dermatologists to the next. But the laser is almost always a part of our regimen for PFB, unless it's in an area that one of my guys don't want treated, because it is effective for laser hair removal. There's a sweet spot between using PFB for the laser and laser hair removal. So you can still treat it, but it's a